I wonder if you can describe the materials that you work with to create your collages.
It's a process of analog and digital. So I scan materials in, including watercolor washes, ink splatters. Can you hear our rabbits in the background?
No.
We have two house bunnies. They're up and at 'em right now.
No, I can't hear
Um,
your rabbits.
okay, good. And for this one, I have some scanned fabric too. So there's just like a lot of textures that then are scanned into the computer. I can change the color if I want, and then I layer them just like a typical collage, cut them in pieces, almost like tissue paper on the computer.
Thanks for listening to Read Minnesota Books. I'm your host, Deborah Copperrood. Today I'm talking to an illustrator. Jordan Sundberg is a collage artist and illustrator in Duluth. She's produced art for many organizations like the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago and the Superior Hiking Trail. Her illustrations have appeared in Minnesota Monthly, Taproot Magazine, Fables of the North Shore, and now Northwoods Lullaby, a new picture book from University of Minnesota Press. Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you so much.
What's your connection to Minnesota?
So I grew up, well, first we lived in East Central Minnesota till I was 8, and then we moved to Duluth. And so I spent the rest of my childhood in Duluth, went away for college and some other adventures, and then came back to work here and have been here since, back in Duluth.
Nice. Tell me about Northwoods Lullaby.
hmm So it feels like a very big gift to me that this was my first picture book, and it happened. Still feels kind of miraculous to me. For probably the last 5, 6 years, I've been dreaming of picture books and slowly working towards it and reading all I can and taking classes and um, doing all these things on my own. And there was one magical day that Erik Anderson of University of Minnesota Press called me. I thought it was a scam. He basically introduced himself and said, "I'm wondering if you would like to illustrate picture books for us." And I was like, "Kids, shut up. There's so much. This is really a good call." And he gave me two manuscripts of Mary, and I felt so lucky to be paired with her. And this particular book, Northwood's Lullaby, is her beautiful rhythmic poetry about basically our Northwoods animals heading to bedtime in the spring.
Yeah, it's really adorable, very soothing.
Yes. Yeah.
The words and the pictures.
Yeah.
So, did you and Mary Casanova work together? I don't know how it works when a illustrator and an author are assigned a book.
Yeah, it's so strange. Typically, no. And we really didn't very much, except that Mary is so established and so beloved and has worked so much with the university that they did include her in the process a little more than usual. But typically, the editor hands the illustrator a manuscript and they're allowed full freedom. And I think partly that's good because as an author, you might have in mind like your grandson or a particular scene, and the illustrator, sometimes you need to part ways in your vision and creativity. And so it allows both person to do their job without sort of compromising because of the other person's dreams or wishes. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's really strange. She really has to trust me, and I really dive deeply into the work she did.
Do they give you like parameters to work within, like color scheme, or do you kind of have free reign?
Eric allowed me total free reign. And maybe that's not always the case, but he was so kind and trusting to me and like really, really allowed me to dream and do what I wanted. And then he was so kind about, changes that they needed. And some of them were really smart and wise. And I'm glad he's good at his job.
You talked up at the top a little bit about the materials that you work with. Are you trained as an artist? Is that what you went to school for?
No, I went to college for German writing, and then I have an art minor. And
Okay.
actually, when I graduated, I worked at a church for almost 10 years, thinking I was going to become a pastor. But along the way, I always loved making art, and then realized that wasn't the path for me, and just dove deeply into making art. And I guess it was kind of a self-started, self-learned process that's been about 13 years.
That's great. And how did you come to the materials and the process you use for making your collages?
hmm I think for me, collage is a relief because there's so much restriction. Like sometimes I think it's difficult if I'm allowed every art supply, I it's too much. But if you only have this chunk of paper and you have to make a shape out of it and move it out, like these are the supplies you get and these are the places you can go and you can only use the scissors to cut it. It brought a little relief to me. And I think looking back, I really as a child I loved Ezra Jack Keats' book, The Snowy Day, and later now I love his other books. But I love simplicity, which I think collage really is. And yeah, I think a lot can be said in simple ways. And I love the challenge of that.
That's cool. I was looking on your website. You have a beautiful portfolio, and
Thanks.
I noticed one of the figures looked a little bit like the
Mhm.
child from A Snowy Day in that like snowsuit and the peaked hat.
Yes, I still love that book so much. Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about creating art, illustrating books? You looks to me from your website like you do posters and promotional materials too.
Yeah, I have. I think the path towards making picture books has kind of always been a thread, I think all the way down into childhood of I love making things with story in it, and I love making it for others. And then as an adult, um, I love having children in mind as the audience. And so the possibility of what could be a story that this image or illustration can tell that would delight or surprise or um, speak curiosity or wonder. I love layering that in. And I love all those things about children too. It's a perfect blend of getting to combine both of those.
Yeah. Did you aspire to picture book illustration before you had kids, or was this something that you kind of came to after being a parent and reading to your own kids?
Yeah, I think I've always loved it, but I didn't know that it was a path I could have. And actually, that first year of the pandemic, our kids and I and my husband, we would tune in to Mac Barnett every day. Do you know him? He's a
No.
picture book author. Every day he at like 2 o'clock read a picture book. And I remember sitting there with the kids and feeling just as excited as they were. And then beginning to just think, I want to do that. That seems like play to me. And maybe for a long time it felt like play wasn't what you could do for work. But then I realized by watching him, this could actually be something I get to do. And so, yeah, I'm a bit of a snail. So that was 6 years ago, and I started the work of heading in that direction.
That's cool. During the
Yeah.
pandemic, those like early days, my kids and I would tune into a Story Pirates live podcast every day.
Yes. Thank goodness for those people. That was
Right?
so generous of them.
Yeah.
What a time.
Do you have a favorite? I'm going to make this a two-part question. Who's your favorite Minnesota writer?
Hmm. I think the first person who comes to mind is Kate DiCamillo. I mean,
Oh,
her
sure.
books blow all of us out of the water. They're so good.
And
Yeah.
who's your favorite Minnesota artist?
Well, my good friend Natalie Solomon and Rude, her and I made the book Fables of the North Shore together. And of course, I love her and her art. And actually, the last two books Mary made with the university were with Nick Robleski. He just moved out of Minnesota, but he's a friend too, and he did his woodcut art for her two books, which is an amazing effort. He's so excellent, does such good work. He's amazing.
Nice. I will link to those in the show notes. I am not familiar with those
Yeah.
books, so I'm excited to see them. Okay, I have kind of a silly question for you. How do you
Yeah.
feel about Wanda Gag's Millions of Cats? Cute or creepy?
I love it. I just reread it yesterday to really decide what I think. I I think it's sweet. I think your heart gets attached. I think it's scary because you're wondering how all those cats are going to get enough food and you really don't think they should eat grass.
Hmm.
And then they eat each other. I mean, that's like it is horrifying, but thrilling and also curious, like how did they, where'd the last one go that ate the other one? That's so confusing. And then the little ugly kitties left and you feel bad. Like the whole thing, like she somehow, you're attached, even though it's really strange. And she was amazing. And she's one of the, I mean, she really changed the course of picture books long
Hmm.
before they were like an established genre of reading. She was incredible. Yeah, I'm grateful for her in that weird book.
It is a weird one, but a classic.
Yeah, what do you think?
I loved it when I was a kid, and then in rereading it as a parent to my own kids, I was like, wow, this is really wild and
Yeah,
gruesome.
yes. What did your kids think?
They they weren't super into it. It wasn't one that they like read over and over again.
Yeah.
They got into other picture books for other reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
So you mentioned another book with Mary. What else are you working on next? Or tell me about that project.
Yeah, so the other one is a winter book. So between Nick's two and the two I get to do, it covers all four seasons in Minnesota. So the winter one is a cross-country skiing book with lots of animals as well. Um, which will, this next year I'll be making it and it'll come out in that long publishing process, fall of 2027. And I have like 15 manuscripts of my own and a book dummy and art that I've been working on. And my next big step is I need to pitch this to an agent and actually get the ball rolling on making books of my own and stop just reworking and editing and thinking I need to tweak it a little bit more before I send it. I feel really excited and ready to make the books I've been dreaming of too.
Oh, that's great. So have you queried agents yet? Or are you,
I haven't, no.
and you
Do
have
you?
15 projects?
Yes,
Jordan.
I know. I know. I read them and reread them and I have a critique group and then I put it back in my drawer. And then I Google agents and then I think I probably just need to get it a little bit better. So I think I'm my goal is before summer, I'm gonna send some of those off and hopefully get some started. Do
You
you have
should
any?
just do it. Yeah,
I have,
I am with you. I've got a lot of projects in a drawer.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
understand that, but I think you should go for it.
yeah. Do you have an agent?
No,
No, do you dream of it too?
I dream of it and I get rejections. So
I mean, I think that's the real reason I'm stalling because it's a scary, it doesn't feel the best. Like, yeah, you have to really have a thick skin, I think. It's tough.
it is tough. I have seen recently some like groups that are they it's like groups of writers on Substack who are aiming for like 100 rejections. And so it's like the more rejections you get, the better you're doing because the more you're putting yourself out there.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that sounds exhausting.
So that's kind of like a way to spin
Yeah,
it.
that's actually a really good idea. Yeah, it like yeah, if you stop, you will. Yeah, it's no good. Gotta keep going. Oh man. Okay, that's inspiring.
So are you on social media? Where can folks follow you online and find out about these projects?
Yeah, I am a bit. I have Instagram under my little business name, Tin Cup Design, and Facebook too. I haven't been as active in the last year. I don't know. I feel a shift of just, I guess, wanting to be more in real life. So I have a website, and I think real life, fortunately for this book, is that, I'm going to the nature preschool that our kids went to and reading it to the kids on May 8th and a couple local bookstores. And that feels really good to me. It probably is a good idea to put more of this online. I'm there. I just am kind of quiet, but yeah, I appreciate connecting with people a lot.
Yeah, well, for listeners, I will link to Jordan's website in the show notes. There's like a lot of beautiful illustrations there to
Well,
look
thank
at.
you. That's really kind.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me about your art, your work, and how you found your way to picture book illustration.
Oh, thank you for asking and thinking of me. I feel really honored.
And now for my recommendations. Today, I have a recommendation from my writer friend and Read Minnesota Books listener, Amy Padden. Everyone should have a friend like Amy. I think she's listened to every episode of every one of my podcasts, this one and my old podcasts, and she doesn't even like podcasts that much. That's how good and encouraging of a friend she is. Amy went to the Minnesota Marine Art Museum in Winona, Minnesota to see the exhibit Splish Splash Story, selections from the Eric Carle Museum of Picture Book Art. Here's a description from the museum website. Spanning more than a century, this exhibition celebrates the power of water as both subject and symbol in picture book illustration. From serene ponds and playful rain showers to roaring oceans and imaginative underwater worlds, the featured works showcase how artists have used water to inspire curiosity, joy, and wonder in young readers. So the exhibition includes works by both classic and contemporary illustrators, including a few works from Eric Carle. The exhibit runs through July 26th of this year, so you have time to get there. And that concludes this episode of Read Minnesota Books. Please take a moment to rate and review the podcast on your app, and thanks for listening.